This is Chongqing. People call it the 80s city. It's a mix of old towns, modern skyscrapers, spicy food, and cyberpunk. From an outsider's eyes, it seems expensive. But for this trip, I booked one of those super cheap group tour packages. We're talking round trip flights with baggage, 3-star hotel stays, meals, tours, entrance fees, and guide all in for less than 20,000 pesos. We even get to visit Chengdu, another city in China. The catch? I have no control. I have to follow a tour group everywhere, and apparently there will be mandatory shopping stops. After avoiding group tours and traveling DIY for more than 10 years, will this change my mind? Join me in my first trip to China and let's find out. We are at Mactan Cebu International Airport and we're on our way to Manila where we will be joining a group tour to Chengdu and to Chongqing. We found this package in a travel fair in Ayala Center, Cebu, sometime in August. It's 19,988, but that's not the only thing you will spend. There's 3,000 for the visa fee, there's the international travel tax, 1,700 roughly, and then there's the mandatory tipping, which was almost 3,000 pesos all in all for a 5-day itinerary. It includes the round trip flight from Manila to China, and it includes the 4 nights of hotel stay, 2 nights in Chengdu, 2 nights in Chongqing, and it also includes all the tours every day, and then meals. The meals vary. Like on some days it's breakfast and lunch, some days it's lunch and dinner. So it really depends on the day, but at least 2 meals of the day will always be part of is already part of the package and all the tours. And I also just found out the last minute just this morning that the tour also includes insurance. So just received by email the insurance that comes with the tour itself. So outside of that, the only thing that I spent for before traveling is we bought eSIMs for China. I've read that there's this great firewall, so you cannot access the usual global apps in China like Google, Facebook, Instagram, even TikTok. So, and because pretty much can't live without those anymore. So we booked eSIMs with built-in VPNs, so we don't have to use a VPN service anymore. If we connect to any Wi-Fi network in China, those sites will be blocked. And it didn't sink in until we were at the airport that the first day of this trip would be challenging. The tour flies out from Manila, and the outbound is at 2 in the morning. Because we live in Cebu, our journey started on the day before with a flight to Manila at around 9 p.m. So after the 1-hour flight to Manila, the 4-hour flight to China, immigration, airport waiting times, and slight delays in between, we found ourselves in the baggage claim area of Chengdu at around 8 in the morning. And we still have to take the bus to Chongqing for 3 hours. We're finally in China. We got our bags already. Our baggage claim. Immigration was pretty efficient here compared to our other travel experiences. First impressions, the airport is spotlessly clean. So far, the security people at the immigration, they're actually friendly and they speak English. Almost all signs that I see have English translations. Picturean ko si Papa. That's one thing I observed is there's not a lot of stores. Medyo mingaw gyud siya na airport. It's big, it's very modern, it's very clean, pero mingaw gyud siya. So far, there is a Costa Coffee, some money changers, China Telecom for SIM cards, and 7-Eleven. Namigahang siopaw sa 7-Eleven China, no? Kay China man.
谢谢。
We arrived in outer Chongqing at around 11 a.m., roughly 16 hours since we started in Cebu, with only in-flight power naps and snacks to fuel us for the first day of our trip. But our tour guide did not intend to waste time. On our 3-hour bus ride to Chongqing, she discussed our itinerary for the day. We will start with an early lunch and then visit an ancient town, the famous train station, an old factory that was turned into an art hub, a fancy mall, and then dinner before checking in at our hotel. It was going to be a long day. And by the way, if you would like to go to Hongyadong, watch a cultural show, have a nice dinner buffet, a foot massage, and go to the biggest hot pot in the world according to Guinness World Records, there is an optional fee of $150 per person. Wait, what? Just finished lunch. So, one thing that almost got me triggered about that upsell that they did earlier in the bus before lunch was that they took out the Hongyadong cave or the Hongya cave from the itinerary. Like they made it seem that the tour guide said it will be part of the $150 optional tour. When in fact, that is one of the main highlights of Chongqing and of any Chongqing tour. In fact, when we bought this from the travel fair back in August, that was one of the reasons why we wanted it. I would be lying if I said that I wasn't bothered by the hard selling, but I also did not want to allow that to affect the rest of the day. Even on our many DIY trips, we do encounter hiccups, and oftentimes we have to make the most of what we have. We're at what our tour guide said, Old Chongqing. Google Maps says it's Sichiku. I might be butchering the pronunciation, but this is like an old town with a lot of stores and souvenir shops, tea shops, spice shops, and it resembles Jofen in Taiwan, kind of. It's pretty busy. There's a lot of locals actually, a lot of Chinese tourists here as well. Let me show you. We were given an hour and a half to explore Sichiku Ancient Town. The place was packed with tourists, going through the maze of well-preserved old shops and people wearing traditional costumes. Pro tip: buy souvenirs here. One thing we learned the hard way is that it would be difficult to go back to any place that we will visit since the tour group follows a stringent schedule. It isn't like our DIY trips, where we have the choice to shop around and go back to the store that sold the cheapest souvenirs. After Sichiku, we went to the TikTok and Instagram famous Lizaba station. My wife and I didn't do the viral TikTok video here. We just decided to get coffee and watch people with their mouths open trying to catch the train. We then had a short stop at a place called Testbed 2, an old factory that was turned into an art hub. I was not able to take a lot of photos and videos, but the rooftop had a good view of the Chongqing skyline. We stopped in a mall for an hour, then we had dinner. So far, the lunch and dinner of day one was included in the package cost. We then checked in at Holiday Inn Express. I was not able to shoot videos at our hotel, so I'm sorry if there is no room tour. But the hotel has exceeded our expectations. The room was very spacious and clean, the hotel staff were friendly, and it included breakfast. We started our second day in Qixinglu, another viral and trending spot in Chongqing. This was that place that everyone is posting about, where one moment you're on the ground floor, and next thing you know, you're at the 22nd floor. We did not join the hype at Elizabeth Station on the previous day, but this place lived up. We were amazed. We continued our tour in Jifangbei, the central business district of Chongqing. Here, you can find the iconic Liberation Monument, high-end brand stores, and within walking distance, a food street where we can have lunch out of pocket. So for day 2, you get breakfast at the hotel, pay for your own lunch, and if you do decide to give in to the hard selling yesterday, dinner is at the Guinness World Record biggest hot pot in the world. But more on that later.
Palitan sa tika diya sa Gucci upuan.
Unsay paliton nimo sa Gucci?
Ha?
Unsay paliton nimo sa Gucci?
Iprito gani nga nay sa samisid sa gawas.
Gucci man na.
Oh, dili na mabaligya sa Gucci. So scam.
It's our second day in Chongqing, and we're at Jifangbei, and this is the Chongqing food street. So last night, wala na ako ka take og videos last night kay kapoy na kayo. What happened is we arrived in China at around early in the morning, around 6 in the morning, and then immigration, and then baggage, and then we arrived in Chongqing around lunchtime na. Basta, and then went straight to the tour. We only got to our hotel at around 8 p.m. To check in, and you'd think that we would go out pero wala yung energy to go out. We crashed. We're here to try the local coffee. Because we had breakfast at the hotel earlier, we decided to just try the Starbucks here instead. We also bought some pasalubong, and then we headed to our next destination, Shibati. Shibati is also an old part of the city that was turned into a tourist destination, similar to Sichiku. But compared to Sichiku, it was on top of a mountain and housed an old bomb shelter underneath, which was used during World War II. If you take the optional $150 activities, this is where you will watch the traditional Chongqing opera. We did not avail of that, so we were given time to explore. Fair warning, this place may involve some climbing through stairs. The view from the top is worth it, and more importantly, there is a food court. We tried some dumplings, grilled lamb skewers, and janbing, which is an egg wrap that is usually eaten by the locals for breakfast. The food has been great in Chongqing so far, but after almost 2 days, I noticed that I am not a big fan of the numbing feeling you get from Sichuan peppercorns. I am not Mark Wien's level obsessed with spicy food, but I can handle spice to some extent, having tried local food from our past trips to Indonesia and Thailand. But the numbing sensation you get from Sichuan cuisine is a bit off for my taste buds. On our way back to our meeting point, we saw this beer dispensing structure and decided to cleanse our palate with lychee flavored beer. And it's paid. And then you get your glass. So, Tsingtao lychee beer that came from that thing behind me.
How about the taste? Comparable to what?
Lami.
Kapi na sad.
Comparable na lang.
Tamis.
Flavor?
Bawal. Bawal.
Parang kali. It's just like kali.
Is it? Do you think it's even alcoholic? I don't know.
That's Qingdao.
After Shibati, we went to a place called Danzishi. We were dropped off at what seemed to be a park that had another vantage point of the Chongqing skyline. But what we didn't immediately realize was that we were actually standing at the rooftop of another mall. It's one of those many places in Chongqing where they designed their buildings to blend with the mountains. One interesting store here is a huge mixue, where the locals are lining up for hours to buy merch. I've seen mixue all over Southeast Asia, but I did not know they were this big in China. So we are at Danzishi in Chongqing, and then we were dropped off earlier at this part. I have some shots there kanina. And then we were quite surprised now when we went inside. So if you go in any of these buildings, it's actually part of a mall. And when you go inside, it goes deeper into the first floor. Apparently, where I'm standing at right now is the fifth floor of the mall, if I'm not mistaken. So this is the mall's fifth floor, and it's ground level in this side. And then when you go down the mall to the first floor, that's also ground level. So the way that they constructed buildings here in Chongqing, just like the one that the first place we went to this morning was, it would seem that you're in the ground floor and there are tall buildings on the same level as you are, but then when you go look on the other side, you're actually in the 22nd floor, which is fairly high. So what they actually did is they built around the mountains. So Chongqing in itself is not a flat piece of land like what you would see in other cities. It's really a mountainous place, and they built around it. They worked around the mountains. So yeah, it's quite amazing. It's quite amazing, and it's a little different than what you're used to. So yeah. And now right now we're just waiting for our bus, and the next place we're gonna go to is the biggest hot pot in the world, according to Guinness World Records. And it's an entire mountain that they turned into a hot pot restaurant. So yeah, let's talk about that. Most of the people in our tour group firmly said no to the $150 add-on and complained about the omission of Hongyadong, which was already part of what we paid for. So in the morning of our second day, our tour guide tweaked the offer, saying we can choose just one of the 4 activities for $50 per activity, or take all for $150. And she's giving the Hongyadong tour for free. Again, that was already part of what we paid for, but thanks, I guess. So we decided to just take the hot pot out of the 4 activities and paid $50 per person. We were not interested with the buffet or the massage, which we can try everywhere else, and the opera show seems overpriced compared to what you can get from Klook. But the hot pot is something unique to Chongqing and truly a Guinness World Record holder. So we took that. And let me tell you this, the place does live up to its world record. It's an entire mountain with, according to our tour guide, 5,000 seats, certified by Guinness. But if I were to give my honest opinion, I was underwhelmed. It wasn't bad, but it was far from being the best either. We have had better hot pot in other countries, even back home. And for me, this was not worth $50. But nevertheless, we get to end the evening and the Chongqing half-hour tour on a high note. Our guide saved the best for last. After dinner, we headed to the most awaited part of this trip, Hongyadong. So this is one of the main reasons why we're here in Chongqing. It's Hongyadong, and man, it's so fun. Super crowded. Like the other side of the road there is super full people. Itong lahi na dyan ang pagka-crowded niya. Grabe kayo kadagan ng tao. I don't know how they do it, but grabe good.
You can go downstairs and wait for me in your area. You can enjoy the view. Now, downstairs and wait for me here. There are lots of tour guides. You can see the price. And wait for me here.
So most of the people are focused in the Hongyadong side, which is that place over there. Yeah, it's really good. It's really majestic. But the skyline here on the other side of the Yangtze is actually not so bad either. Even with the so-so dinner that we have just had, the pouring crowd practically elbowing each other for the perfect Instagram shot, the loud big bikes and the honks of the passing cars and tour buses. Even with all the chaos and the noise, Hongyadong was a sight to see. So good that many would easily miss the equally impressive bridge and skyline just right across. If you do get the chance to visit Chongqing, whether in a cheap group tour or your own DIY adventure, do not miss seeing Hongyadong. Our tour group is already out and we are here in the city center on our own accord. Diba? Ano kita mga badlungon. Sige, let's have an hour here siguro. Buday. Buday.